Hello friends, how are you? In last classes we were discussing about waste and its management. We were discussing about waste and its management. Okay. In the first class we discussed about the types of waste and the sources of waste also. Got it? In last class, that was second class of this chapter, we discussed about the harmful effect of the waste. We discussed about the harmful effect of the waste. Got it? And in that class, we discussed about the plastic. And let me clear you, that is a very important question that tell about the harmful effect of plastic. Harmful effect of plastic, that is a very important question for our exam. Okay. And we also discussed about the hospital waste. We also discussed about the hospital waste, and that is also a very important question. That is also a very important question for our exam. Okay. Now after that, 1 minute. Yes, that's much clear. Now after that, let we start to discuss about methods of waste methods of waste management. Methods of waste management. Before that, let me remind about the what is the waste management. Collection of waste, collection of waste and its proper disposal. Collection and proper disposal of waste is known as waste management. Is known as waste management, and it is very important, because if the waste is not properly managed, then it will it will become a serious problem for our environment. Okay, so now we will discuss about the methods of waste management. There are various methods, out of which landfill, second is incineration, third is recycling, and fourth chemical method. These four main methods are in our syllabus, and then after we will discuss about some steps and some common aspects that we can use individually for the waste management. Okay, now let me start the first one, that is landfill. Landfill. In this method, the waste, collected waste, is stored in the pits, and after that, when the pit fulfilled by waste, then it covered and left for decomposition. This is landfill method in simple words. Now if we consider, then it is very clear and cost effective method of waste disposal. It is very clear because it do not generally, if it is properly managed, then it do not cause any type of environmental problems. So that is clear and cost effective, because there is no special techniques, no special requirements of instruments, no special chemicals are required, so that is cost effective also. Okay, in most of the countries, in most of the countries, it is a very common method. It is very common method of waste management in most of the countries. Got it? In this method, waste is dumped at landfill site. As we discussed, there is a landfill site where the waste is dumped. When it is filled, then it covered with the soil. When it filled, then it covered with the soil. Okay, here a pipeline system is also installed in landfill to collect the methane gas which is produced during the decomposition of waste. When the waste is decomposed in these pits, then it releases methane gas, because there are some bacteria or microorganisms present in that environment which decompose it. Okay, this way gas collected, because this is a energy resource for us, because by using the methane we can produce electricity. So there is a pipeline installation which collect this waste and use in the production of electricity. Got it? Generally, useless mines, useless, that means those mines which may be possible in the far past that are useful to us, but now after the all the minerals or the metals extracted, now they are only pits, no useful to us. Or mining pits are used for landfill, because there is two benefits. First, they are prepared pits, so we do so there is no need of dig, or do not there is no need of prepare a pit for the landfills, they are already prepared. Second, if we fill these pits, then we reduce the chances of accidents. You know that there are lots of accidents in these mines because there is no protection. Since there is no minerals, so you know that these companies or public sector companies left them, and they becomes a site of accidents. If we use them in this way, then it is a protective step to prevent from these accidents. So that is also a benefit of it. Okay. So again I'm repeating, useless mines, or we can use that unuseful mines. Mining pits are used for landfill. It is very clean method, but old and wrong methods of landfill can create problems. Its improper management, its improper management attract flies, insects and animals. Suppose there is a landfill, and after filling the waste, it is not covered with the sand, it is left uncovered. Now that place become a playground for the insects and microorganisms. And you know that in waste lots of material is organic waste, so the animals will also attract there. All of these things can cause infectious disease in surrounding areas. Because of that, the disease can spread in that areas. Okay, that is the negative side of this method. Second is incineration method. In this method, the collected waste is burnt under controlled conditions at high temperature, and because of that the waste convert into ash or gases. Okay. In this method, the waste is burnt at high temperature and get convert into heat, gas, steam and ash. This method is done at small and large scale. It is done at small level as well as large level. Small level, it is performed by individual persons, like we burnt waste at our home, or in the market the shopkeepers collected the plastics nearby them in the shop or near the shops and burnt that. That is individual. Okay. And in large scale, there are industries which collect the waste and burn them. Okay, and use the heat to produce materials or substances. This method is done as large in this use by individual or large small scale, while incineration in the industries is example of large scale. This method is ideal method for the countries like Japan. This is important question. What is the importance of incineration? That is, two importances are: first, it is very important, it is ideal method for the countries like Japan where there is shortage of land. Countries like Japan where there is shortage of land, this method is best method, because in this method there is no need of land. Only chambers are required, which we can use multiple times, because there is no filling of the chambers. So when the burnt, the gases goes in the atmosphere, the ashes can use in making other the bricks and other items. So the chamber becomes empty again, and then we can use it again. So there is, it is very ideal method for countries like the Japan where there is a shortage of land. First importance. Second, this is the best method for the disposal of the hospital or biomedical, or we can say that contaminated waste. Because if there is no any other method for the management of hospital waste, there is contamination, infections, and we cannot throw that waste in the landfill, because there, since hospital waste contain microorganisms, and the landfill which is fulfilled which have organic compounds, so that place become the breeding areas for the microorganisms. That's why we cannot throw in the landfill. The only way, that is incineration, because in the incineration the bacteria will kill. Okay, so this is the best method for disposal of the hospital or biomedical waste. But there is a limitation, and which is, it is a practical method of waste management, but emission of the gases pollutant is its negative side. In the burning, definitely various gases will release, and these gases can cause environmental pollution. So that is the negative side of this method. Okay. Third is recycling. In simple word, we can say that recycling means use item used item, process and convert into a new substance that we can use again. Got it? That means we can say that conversion of the waste into new usable material. Conversion of the waste into new usable material is known as recycling. It is known as recycling. Again I am repeating, the waste convert into new usable form, that is recycling. Okay. In this method, raw material can be obtained from waste. The raw material which we can use in the making of the other substance. For example, like the plastic bottles, glass containers, metal objects collected by the some kabadi wala and collect send into the processing units where they melt them and make new items from that. So that is a recycling. So here the material like glass or metal or plastic is obtained from the waste which was given by us. Okay, so that the raw materials for the making of these substances supplied by this method. This, okay, or waste can be converted into electricity. Here the organic waste convert into the compost, and the methane gas which is released can use in making the electricity. Okay, so that line for that. Now, in most developed nation, recycling means collection and the reuse of waste, as we discussed. Okay, it is best method of the management. That is the importance of that. It is the best method of management of non-biodegradable waste like the plastic, glass and metal objects, because this method not only reduce the amount of waste but also supply the raw material for creation of the new substances. For the creation of the new substances. Got it? Therefore, it is helpful in the conservation of resources. This is this paragraph is explaining about the importance of the recycling method. Now, that was for non-biodegradable. Now we consider the biodegradable or organic waste. The organic waste like the like paper, cloth, and residual of the foods, etc. can be used to make compost, vermicompost, can use to make compost, vermicompost, organic manure, etc. Organic manure, etc. Got it? Here in this process, the produced gas, which is methane, can use in making electricity. That means in this method, we convert the waste, organic waste, into two usable or useful forms. First is compost or vermicompost or manure, and second is methane gas, which can use for the electricity production. Got it? So that is also important for biodegradable waste. Got it? So recycling is important for biodegradable and non-biodegradable, both of that. Now the fourth one is chemical method. In this method, the various toxic chemicals which are produced in our industries can destroy or convert into non-toxic other usable form by chemical reactions. Got it? So we can say that many toxic chemicals of industrial waste, that is waste, can destroy or can use in making other chemicals by chemical reactions. Okay, that is about the chemical method. Now there are some steps and there are some other methods of waste management. Apart from these four methods, there are some other steps which helpful in the limitation and the management of the waste. Some of them is our duty, and while some other are the supportive methods of waste management. Got it? Now let me discuss that. First one, waste can be disposed into deep oceans, but it must be noted that it should not pollute the ocean environment. Here the waste can dispose in the deep oceans, but for that we have to make sure that that kind of waste should not badly affect our oceanic environments. Okay, got it? Second, the remaining of the animals like the bones, feather, blood, etc. are sources of the fat and can use in making soaps, because you know that fatty acids are used in making soaps, so they can use. Okay, their protein parts, that means animals part which are feathered like the blood, etc. The protein which is present in that can use as cattle feed. Here the cattle means the poultry farming, in the fisheries we can use to feed our fowls, our fishes. Okay. Third, the garbage can be changed into solid bricks by the high pressure. The garbage can be changed into solid bricks by high pressure, and that bricks we can use in the construction. I think few months back there was a news that plastic road, if you ever heard about it, plastic road, that was example of it. In that process the plastic converted into bricks, and these bricks used to make the footpath or road like construction. In one of the other example, the plastic melt and use as coal tar on the road. So that ways we can also use the garbage in making the constructions. Fourth, the treated sewage water, that means the after the removal of the solid waste and harmful bacteria, that what's the treated sewage water can use in irrigation. We can use it in irrigation. Got it? Fifth, government and NGO should continuously do research regarding the disposal and reuse of the waste, because there is continuous change in the types of waste, because as the technology is improving, the packaging items and the waste generated waste types of waste are continuously changing. For example, if you consider if you ask your grandfather, then they will say that they use cloth bags to carry any substances, and after that, in our age, that is plastic. So there is a technical change. There is a technical change. Result: new packaging material is now present. So definitely the waste will also different. And that time there was no any fast food industries, there were no chips, and modern time you know about all of these are present, so definitely the type of waste will change. So government and NGO should work on this sector to develop new techniques of the reuse and disposal of waste which can minimize the environmental pollution. Okay. 6, there is a need of the master plan for solving the problem of the waste and environmental protection. Got it? We have to require, we have to consider a long term master plan in which we can consider the types of waste, collection of waste, and best method of its management as per that city. Got it? So we need that master plans. Got it? 7th, the most essential step is the improvement in the behavior of citizens. It is for us. The most important thing, that is improvement in the behavior of citizens, that means us. Why? Because if we aware about the waste, its harmful effects on our environment, what will happen if we do not properly manage it? If we know all of these, then automatically we will try to reduce the waste, or we definitely will careful about the disposal of waste. One simple example. After the government's program Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, you notice that our cities becomes much cleaner than uh, 3 or 5 years ago. Before that, what do you think? Is that only government involved? No. In that, we citizens were actively involved. Simple example, we can take that in a simple city. For example, if I consider my city, then there is 20 lakh people, and if we consider the municipality persons, then only 100 to 200. Now do you think that 100 to 200 persons can manage the waste of 20 lakh peoples? Definitely not. Till we involve in, we consider our duties, we fulfill our duties, that we throw the waste at a collective dumping areas, dustbins. Okay, we change our behavior that we are splitting in the public places, we are throwing the materials, we totally change all of that. Because of that, our cities becomes clean. Got it? So that means the individual involvement is very, very important. So the most essential step is the improvement in the behavior of citizens. We should throw garbage at particular places. Then this problem will reduce automatically. Got it? 8. Municipalities and cleaning staff will have to bring skills in their work. They have to use techniques. They have to use the methods, new techniques, new methods, which can reduce the amount of waste. Got it? Now that chapter is finished. Here some important points which are in our question answer segments, and that is important for our exams. First, that is greenhouse gases and global warming. Some gases like the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur trap the heat of earth, which is escaping in the space. They trap that and increase the temperature of earth. This is called global warming, and these gases are called greenhouse gases. Or simply we can say that those gases which are responsible for the global warming are called greenhouse gases. Got it? Second is biogas. The gas which produced by anaerobic, that means absence of oxygen. Absence of oxygen. Got it? The gas which produced by anaerobic decomposition of organic waste is called biogas. It is called biogas. It mainly consists methane, that is CH4. Got it? We discussed in the landfill about it. Okay, so it is formed by anaerobic decomposition of organic waste by microorganisms. Got it? The next question is, what is vermicompost? What is vermicompost? If we consider the simplest definition, then we can say that the compost or manure which is prepared by or made with the help of earthworm is called vermicompost. The compost which is made with the help of earthworm is called vermicompost. Now, how it is converted? Organic waste like the plant leaves, cow dung, peels of fruit, vegetables, etc. are eaten and break down into small pieces by earthworm. The earthworm eat them and convert into small pieces. Microorganisms act on these small pieces and convert. Microorganisms act on these small pieces and convert them into manure or vermicompost. Got it? So we can use this definition also, that organic waste of that convert into break down to small pieces, microact and convert into the manure, which is called vermicompost. We can also give the answer in this way. Got it? And one more thing, that is, what is 3R? This is an important question. What do you mean by 3R? It is the concept of waste management. These are concept words of the waste management. Here 3R, which are indicating reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. We discussed about recycle. These two things are remaining, so I think we have time to discuss about it. Reduce, that means less use of any substance. Less use of any substance. Got it? Reuse, that means use the substance again and again. And recycling, that means when there is no possibility of reduce and reuse, now melt it and convert into new item. To understand it, we can take an example of plastic items. Okay, we are going to market to purchase any objects, to purchase any materials. For that, we with us we take the cloth bag and went into the market. We put all the objects in the cloth bag. In this way, we reduce the plastic that was after the removal. After when we reach at our home, this plastic becomes a waste for us. But by taking the cloth bag, we reduce it. Got it? Now, second is reuse. It is very common in our daily life that after using, suppose there is a any object which is in plastic container, for example, that is like complaint, that is a hard plastic container. After the completion of that material, we use that container, plastic container, to put any other objects in our kitchen or at our home. Similarly, after removal the color, we use that bucket in the our bathrooms or as a pot for flower. Okay, so that is reuse. We are using that thing again and again. And recycling, when after there is no use of the plastic in any ways, then we sell it to any person which melt it and make new items from it. Got it? So that is recycling. So these are reduce, reuse and recycle. These are the 3R concept. We have to only just memorize the three names: reduce, reuse and recycling. Got it? So in this, now our chapter 13 is finished, and from next class I am starting chapter number 14, that is economical importance of plant and animals. Hope you like this video. Thank you.